That one note, it gives me chills every time I hear it. The first time I heard it, it was amazing. It truly sets the tone for the game Video Horror Society, even though it's just showing you the developer logo. It really does resonate with the players and is very iconic. Hey Video Horror Society Club members, my name is Pixelishious, and today we are going to be exploring the audio of Video Horror Society. Sounds in games are really important because they tell us what's happening and also set the tone for the game that we're playing, the atmosphere. It pulls us into it. And I want to take some time to talk about these sounds and how they make us feel and stuff like that. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to click that subscribe button if you want to see more Video Horror Society videos by me. And of course, don't forget to follow me on Twitch if you want to watch me live stream playing VHS throughout the week. With all that said, let's get into it. As soon as the main menu loads up, you're met with a strong synth beat that gradually increases, setting the intensity of the game that you're loading into. The music adds more sounds and even the tension track of the monster towards the end of it. And then as it slowly dies down, we get into the main menu music that everyone knows and loves. It's very chill, but also a little unsettling. It makes you definitely feel like you are hanging out in a video store past midnight and something's about to happen. I love this music because at no point do I ever feel annoyed by it. It is a nice loop, there's enough variation in it, and it really just helps pull you into the game itself. I love the feedback sounds in the game menu. When you hover over an option, you can hear the clicking sound, and of course, when you click on another part of the menu, you have this nice whoosh. Like, these feedback sounds let you know that it's accepting your input, and your journey. The sound effect on that is so satisfying when you spend an aura point, the ghostly yet positive chime that you are powering up your character. All these sounds just really make you feel like you're doing something and you're progressing even just alone in the main menu. If I had any feedback here, I would love to see some sort of intense sound effect like a synth chord added for when you click the play button, adding more to the atmosphere that you're going into the beyond, adding to the tension that this is about to get real and there's no turning back. I would love something like that with the play button, as opposed to right now it's really just kind of like a click, which is fine for all the other menu options, but I feel like when you click play, I want to feel like you're confirmed, you're going into the beyond, let's go. When you load into the lobby, you have that echoing gong sound that notifies you that you're in the lobby or when someone drops. The best sound in the lobby for me is probably the final countdown, the little bunk, bunk, bunk sound as it counts down, and of course that satisfying sound of when you put a VHS cassette tape into a VCR and that it's about to click play. And then as you load, it actually has sort of like a film, like those old school film projectors, real sounds playing as you load into it. I like these sounds a lot because they really just add to this retroness and that Video Horror Society, shortened to VHS tapes and all that stuff. It really just comes together, sticking with the theme, the renting movies back then and plugging them in late at, putting them into the VCR late at night on a Friday with your friends, especially if they're a horror one, and then just, it creates this great tension, this atmosphere. I'm in love with it. These little sounds really just set the stage, and I feel like a lot of them go unnoticed because we mostly just pay attention to just the notification sounds, but there's those little details that I absolutely love. These next sounds are the in-game sound effects. These let you know when you're being productive or getting your ass kicked. Some sounds let you know when something needs your attention or you should get the hell out of Dodge. As the camera zooms in to where you see yourself on the TV, there is dead silence, truly creating the tension and making sure that you can hear anything and everything around you. You hear your teammates ping, a sound that grabs your attention, lets you know where people are, and if someone double pings, that sounds even deeper, letting you know that there's danger behind them. As you run around the map, there's a little pitter-patter of your feet running across the carpet, the wood floor, grating. Everything you walk on makes a sound, and of course when you crouch, you make no sound, hoping that the monster can't find you. And it's even cooler because the monsters can hear these sounds of you walking too, letting you know where you're going, and they can even determine which direction you went based off of the floor type that you're running on. Because the floor types differ from like each room, and they can determine where you're going because of that. And I love that creativeness. I absolutely love how you can use even just those minor sounds to find someone. These general feedback sounds let you know that you're doing something, something's happening, you're making noise that'll bring the monster to your location, or if someone needs your attention. The bandage sounds letting you know you're patching up a pal, banging on a vending machine like the little vandal you know you are. Some sounds indicate specific things that you're doing. The goat and bell sounds when you're crafting a curse weapon, or the bubbling, booping, alchemy sound effects that happen when you're making a fire weapon. I'm not sure these kids were taught about fire safety, because that flamethrower does not look like it's up to code, and we shouldn't be letting Faith throw Molotovs around the building, just saying. The most damning sound when you're playing teen is, of course, missing a skill check. Oh, that sound, anytime I miss a skill check, I cringe. That sound is just a reminder of how I missed that skill check, I failed, and the monster heard it, they can see it, and they are probably on their way to kick my ass. I feel like the best sound to any teen player is the sound of landing a stigma. Oof. Love that sound. And each of them are different. The church choir singing when you land a holy stigma. The unearthly screams, those breathy screams from when you land a curse stigma. The whooshing fire of the fire stigma, and the electrical zappy sounds from the electric one. And all these are just so good. And of course, each of these weapons have their own sounds as well. You have the shock sphere that's humming, building up energy before it bursts on that slippery doll master out of existence. These action feedback sounds give you power to your attacks. It's letting the monster know that you're not here to mess around. And of course, with these very satisfying sounds comes the not so satisfying ones, at least when you're a teen. Imagine you're working on a station or walking down a hall, and you're only a quarter of the way through your weapon, and that's when you hear it. The low tension, crackly and deep. Before you even hear those footsteps, you know they're coming for you. The squishy steps of Wart, the thundering sound of Werewolf's paws barreling down the hall, or the wooden shoes of the doll master echoing through the grand room. These sounds let you know who's coming for you. They got your number. Each monster has their own individual footsteps, which I love, because without seeing the monster, you can already predict who it is, and you can start planning around that if you don't already know who it is, or if you didn't even hear it. You know by just their footsteps. You have the rocky sound of Wart armoring up. The werewolf scream before he berserks to close in on you. The jingles of the doll frolicking to your station. Frolicking. See what I did there? And of course there is the cry of a teen being hit, and the successful scream of the monster disrupting all those near. The Wart echo, the werewolf howl, the frustrating wind chimes of Dollmaster teleporting away. Damn it, where'd he go? As a teen, these sounds make you go, oh fuck. Ominous sound, the deep rushing wind of the monster becoming enraged. The echoing chime of a teammate bleeding out on the ground. Damn, that's cold. Why'd you let him bleed out? Why didn't you go get him? Unless you call upon the beyond using the Book of the Dead, and the church choir sings again as you resurrect your dead friend, and suddenly, boom, they're alive and well again. Well, sorta. And of course, when you're resurrected, you are a very loud, gross-sounding zombie. And that monster, they can hear those sounds really well. For the monster, some of these sounds are their favorites. Landing a hit on a teen, that final scream before they go down. Hearing their helpless teens crafting in the corner all alone as you charge forth towards them. And of course, my favorite audio in the entire game would have to be when you load into the match as the monster. The chilling chime of a grandfather clock, letting you know your time is short as teen because you're about to turn into a monster and you're about to turn against all your friends. The sound is just so good. I love that sound so much. Like the first time I played Monster, it gave me just straight up chills. Like I was like, oh my gosh, it was just like the tension was real. The countdown, it's like, oh, I only have a handful of seconds to decide where I want to turn into the monster and stuff, you know? It was just, that sound still plays into my head and it's just so chilling, and I am obsessed with it. There are, of course, a lot of sounds in Video Horror Society. And there's map sounds as well. When you're running through the animal testing chamber in Facility, you can hear something squeaking and squealing in the cage. When you go out into the courtyard of the hotel map, you can hear the snowy wind blowing through the air. Like, you know what I mean? The humming sound of the rift spawning. There are just so many sounds going on in this game between the teens and the monsters and everything in between that's telling you stuff. There's also the audio direction. You can tell, for the most part, what direction the monster is coming from. Now, I know a lot of us struggle with the vertical audio. I struggle with it myself. Sometimes I wonder if it's my headphones. If I had a studio quality, maybe it'd be a little bit easier to determine if the monster is above me or below me. But for the most part, definitely the horizontal audio is amazing. I've been able to play without HUD and guess where the rift spawned. Just from the directional audio, I could tell which direction it came from. And I could be like, did it spawn in that room? And my friends would be like, yeah, it did. I'd be like, perfect, great. Even though I can't see it, at least I know where it is without them having to tell me. The audio direction in this game is pretty good. You can usually tell which direction the monster is coming from, unless of course they have a deafening echo or howl. Ooh, this is where lack of audio can really, really mess with you. And again, adds to the tension of the game. When you're deaf and you can't tell where you're going, you can't tell where the monster is, you can't tell anything. And I love that. It's just those few handful of seconds where you feel just a little bit helpless. You can't use your weapon, you can't hear if the monster's chasing after you. You just have to look around and hope for the best. And then at the end of the match, you finally get the monster. They go down, they cry in pain as they fall to their deaths. And it's very satisfying. However, I do wish, whether you're playing monster or teen, when you get that final hit, I wish there was a bit more of a victory sound, something that really celebrates it. Like, nothing like that would take away from the win or like the lack of audio that works for this game, but I feel like a much more, I guess you could say, like louder victory sound, like something like a little bit of like a synth fanfare, something energized, I think would really make you feel more accomplished and feel like you won, you did it, and the game is celebrating with you. And even when you lose, there could be like a little bit of a more monotonous synth sound kind of deal there, you know what I'm saying? Overall, the audio in this game is amazing. I think a lot of us think of it as a tool. While it is a tool, but it's also an art form. designing sound in games is definitely not easy. It's more than just recording it. It's also programming it to make sure it's working properly. The distance audio, the proximity audio kind of thing. You know, it's also fine-tuning these sounds. They're not using just these stock sounds. They are making these and customizing them to fit the theme of this game, which I love. And I feel like if they were to use any sort like standard stock sounds, it just wouldn't be the same. These sounds really, really bring this game together, and without them, the game is just not the same. So I just really wanted to talk about the audio of this game. It is amazing, from the music to the sound effects to the ambience to everything. And I really just want to send all my love to the audio engineers who worked on this and the team that programmed the audio. All of it is very choice. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate it if you made it to the end of this video. And of course, if you enjoyed that video, go ahead and click that like button. And once again, don't forget to click the subscribe button to be notified when I post new Video Horror Society related content. As always, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.